So beginning in your seat, let's begin in a seat. Once again, just feeling into your hips. If Sukhasana, if the cross-legged sitting version is not available to you, just reach your legs long and sit just in Dandasana here with the legs long. And if you're fatigued, if you're super fatigued today, or you need to be on your back, you can still get a sense of your hips. We're coming to our back eventually. You could lie on your back in a position of comfort with the knees resting together, arms alongside your body. So any of those positions is fine. And just feel for some balance and symmetry in your hips. And then other um, any other ways you like to begin your practice? Some breath awareness, so taking 4 or 5 rounds of deep breath, perhaps hands to your heart and bringing an intention into your practice. And whenever you're ready, just take your time. Whenever you're ready, come down to your back. Okay. And once on your back, take the soles of your feet to the floor and just run through a couple of pelvic tilts. So on your inhale, draw pubic bone away from your navel. And on your exhale, pubic bone back towards the navel. So shortening the space between pubic bone and navel on the exhale and lengthening that space on the inhale. So now just feeling into your low back and your sacrum. Of course, all of this is going to be connected. So even though we're concentrating on the hips, we want to warm up our back, hamstrings, the glute complex, glute max and minimus. Great. And then stretch both legs long and take the toes back towards the shins. You could reach the arms overhead here. And we haven't done this for a while, but press one heel away, toes pulling back towards the shins, and then release and press the opposite heel away. So the up slip, down slip with the hip, feeling a little movement diagonally in your hips as you press one heel away. You could reach that same arm long and open up side body here as well. And then releasing and pressing the opposite heel away. Just that little pattern for a few more rounds. Great, and then come back to soles of the feet on the floor and rest your knees together. Just take one resting breath. Straighten the legs back out. Now here, and I'm sorry I didn't cue this earlier, but if you're on your sticky mat, you might, if you're on carpet practicing, you might move over to the carpet for this part. And if you're on your sticky mat and you have a big blanket, you could lay the blanket on the sticky mat. Just try this and see if you get stuck. So you're going to turn your right toes out to the right and draw your right knee up towards your side waist. And then reach the leg back out, turn the toes up towards the ceiling. So again, turn your right toes to the right so that your leg will go into external rotation. Then you slide the knee up towards your side body And then reach that leg back out and turn the toes up so the leg goes back to internal rotation. All right, so that's the pattern. Do maybe 4 to 6 of those and just feel this movement from external rotation back to internal rotation to external rotation as you lift the knee up and then back, straighten the leg, internal rotation. Just one side to begin. If that hurts your low back, if it hurts your low back to have the opposite leg straight, you can keep the opposite leg bent with sole of foot on the floor. Good. And then go to the other side. So turn the left toes out, slide your left knee up and out towards the left side of your body. And then you slide the foot back, turn the toes up towards the ceiling. So you're just going into external rotation, lifting the knee, taking the legs straight back out, turning the toes up towards the ceiling, internal rotation. And do a few just like that. So the actions of the hip, of course, right now we're playing a little bit with internal and external rotation. And when you come back to center this last time, go ahead and reach through both feet, both heels. Pull your toes back towards your shins. Reach the arms overhead. Great. And then coming back to center, take the soles of your feet to the floor. And here you're going to need a block. And the soles of the feet to the floor. And we're going to squeeze the block between upper and inner thighs. Pressing into your feet, inhale, lift your hips. Pause here, squeeze the block on the exhale. And then inhale, lift a little higher. Arms just beside your body. And then on your next exhale, you'll release everything back down. So if you need to adjust the block in any way, we're just working the adductors when we squeeze the block, firing up the inner leg, the adductors. So inhale, lift your hips up, press into your feet. Exhale, squeeze the block between your legs. Next inhale, lift a little higher with the hips, arms alongside your body. So we're making the bridge shape. Exhale, roll everything back down. So now you start to feel the adductors working. We're firing up the glutes. Let's take a couple more rounds just like that. Inhale to lift and exhale, squeeze the block and inhale, lift a little higher. And then exhale, roll everything down one vertebra at a time. You'll probably feel your hamstrings a bit here, but we're going to get a little bit more specific with the hamstrings. So here, just mostly adductors. Just had the conversation about skiing, cross-country skiing, and why your adductors are so sore after you do that, from pulling into midline, keeping the legs moving forward and inward towards midline for balance on the skis. Great. And then the next time you come to the floor, you can take the block off to the side and keep the soles of your feet on the floor. And now about the normal stance with your feet, just hip distance apart, arms to the side, and lift your toes up. Lift your toes up. Press your heels into the floor as you lift your hips on an inhale. Pause here. Isometrically draw your heels back towards your hips. Lift a little higher. Chin pointing up towards the ceiling. Make sure you don't take the space away from your neck. And then maybe even a little higher as you pull. You gather the buttocks. You're pulling the heels isometrically back towards your shoulders. So now your hamstrings are engaged. And then on your next exhale, lower everything down slowly to the floor. Really giving your back some support. Great. And then take the feet just a little bit wider, maybe heel toe one time out. So now they're just a little wider than your hips. Pull your toes up, press into your heels as you lift. You can exhale and pause and then press into the heels. See if you can lift a little higher. Isometrically draw the heels back towards the hips. And then on your next exhale, slowly roll down, one vertebra at a time. Feel the support for your back. Good. Now from here, you can take the feet just a half a foot's length away towards the short end of your mat. So a little bit more open stance. Pick up your toes. Inhale, press into your heels, lift. You can exhale and rest, or you can exhale and go down. And then on your next inhale, lift a little higher. Feeling the hamstrings working here. Chin pointing up towards the ceiling. Keep the back of the neck, front of the neck open. And on your next exhale, lower down one vertebra at a time. Rolling down. Oh, yeah. Okay. And now let's go a little bit wider. So you might even be off the edge of your mat or right at the edge of your mat. Lift up your toes. Inhale, press into the heels and lift. If this is okay for your knees, you can try lifting a little higher. If your knees at all hurt, go back in towards the midline a little bit more. So now working the outer hamstring and lower back down slowly on an exhale. Great. And then from here, just take the knees softly side to side. And then stretch your legs long. And now just shake the feet. And see if you can get just a shake through the feet, ankles, legs, everything up to your hips. Just shake out the tension. Good. And then from here, with toes pointed up towards the ceiling, take both toes over to the left. So right leg will be an internal rotation, left leg will be an external rotation. And then back to center and point your toes to the right. And go back and forth a few times as per your capacity. So one leg is moving into internal rotation, the opposite leg moving into external rotation. Great, come back to center. And now you can take your hands to your hip pointers, the bony part at the front of your hips, and press that hip up towards the ceiling. So you're trying to lift that side of your that side of your butt off the floor, and you might press into the heel, okay? And you lift, kind of shearing the hip up towards the ceiling, and then relax back down, and then lift the opposite side up, and set it back down. So lift. You almost can slide a credit card underneath your butt when you lift on that side, and then press and lift the other side. So you're contracting the glutes and lifting and then releasing. One more time on each side. Great. And then you're going to roll over onto your belly. So start with your arms in Sphinx, elbows underneath shoulders, and forearms parallel to one another. Legs pretty close to one another, as close as possible to one another. And then you're going to rest down, forehead to the floor. Slide your arms back. Slide your arms back slightly. Good. On your inhale, you're going to lift and pull back with your arms, not press into your hands, but pull back. Pull back with your arms, and then exhale, release down to the floor. And I'm finding I have to move my blanket here for this. So if you did cover your mat with a blanket, now's the time probably to move that away. So arms are in a typical Sphinx, but maybe back a little bit further. You inhale, slide the hands back. So isometrically, you're trying to slide the elbows back, hands back as you lift. And then exhale, you'll release down to the floor. Inhale, press and slide the arms back. So you're really not pressing into the mat with your hands, but you're pressing the forearms into the mat and sliding your elbows isometrically back towards your hips. And your exhale lowers you down. Inhale to lift. And this time, hold it. Press your hips firmly into the mat and lift your legs off the mat. So squeeze the buttocks. And any amount of lift is fine. And release. Make a little pillow with your hands, resting here, forehead on your pillow, bend your knees, and let your feet move side to side like the windshield wiper motion, releasing any tension in your back. Great, and then we'll come back to the same position with the arms, but the feet a little wider. Okay, so on your inhale, you'll lift, slide the arms back, and on your exhale, you'll lower down. Now, if you're experiencing the arms being a little too close to your body, you could spread your arms out to the edge of your mat. Inhale, lift. Slide the arms back, so it's less of a cobra and kind of the Sphinx cobra blend here. So I'm sliding the elbows back towards my heels, and then exhale, releasing down towards the floor, all the way to the floor with your forehead. Inhale, lift and slide the arms back. Great, and then press your hips firmly into the floor here, and lift your legs off the floor. Really feel the glutes working. Squeezing here. Good. And then release. Make the little pillow with your hands. Rest your forehead on the pillow. Bend your knees and softly move your feet back and forth. Windshield wiper action. Good. Coming back to center, you can keep your head on this little pillow, but flex through the ankles. So your knees are bent and you're flexed through the ankles, and then you're just going to step left foot like you're going to step onto the ceiling. So you lift the left leg up with the knee bent and the ankle flexed, and then you lower that back down. And then inhale, step the right foot up towards the ceiling, like you're going to step on the ceiling, knee bent, ankle bent, and back down. So now you should feel this quite liven up the hamstring. Back and forth a few times, lifting the knee off the floor and pressing up like you're going to stand on the ceiling. And after you've done an even number, you can release your legs to the floor and just softly let your hips move back and forth, right to left. Speed that up. Feel the movement there. And then sliding hands back towards low ribs, press yourself up to all fours. Take a few cat-cows here. So on your inhale, reach the chest forward, open up, arch in the back. And on your exhale, lower forearms to the ground first, and then hips back towards heels in child's pose. Inhale, come up Come into cow. Exhale, lower forearms, reach hips back. And they don't have to touch to the heels. You could just round the back here, making an opposite shape in your back, coming towards your heels with your hips. Inhale, press into your hands, press into your knees, cow. Arching the back, and then lower forearms, round through the back, bring your hips back towards your heels. Good, and then coming back up to center, and we're going to work a little flexion and extension in the hip. So we'll inhale and take left leg out behind us, reaching it up, if you can, higher than parallel. And then on your exhale, round your back and bring your knee in towards your nose, rounding your back, bringing both knee and nose towards one another. And then inhale, stretch long through the leg, reach the leg out behind you. And exhale, bring knee and nose together, rounding your back, pressing into your hands. Inhale. This is extension of the hip. Exhale, flexion of the hip. Do a few more. The next time that you are rounded with your knee in towards your nose, see if you can hold that for 4 to 6 breaths. Holding the knee in as close to your chest as possible. Rounding through your back, so pressing hands into the floor. Good, then release that knee back to the floor. Set your hips back in child's pose. Arms forward or alongside your body in full balasana. Let your back spread open. And then hands forward, inhale back up. We'll take the other side. So on your inhale, you reach the opposite leg long. Try to bring it higher than parallel. And exhale, round through your back. Bring your knee to your nose. Inhale. And exhale. And the next time you're in the exhale with the knee in towards the nose, press your hands firmly into the floor, round your back up towards the ceiling, and pull that knee in as much as you can and hold it. This is flexion of the hip. Hold the knee in close to your nose. Maybe 3 breaths, maybe 5. Keep with it if you can till you're pretty fatigued. And then knee to the floor. Set your hips back. Child's pose. Take a couple rounds of breath here in child's pose, letting your back come open. Sort of draping open, like you were draping something over the rounded shape of your back. A towel or a cloth or something. Good. Inhale, come back up to center. Great. And then we'll inhale the left leg out behind us again. And on your exhale, just tent your fingers and bring your foot forward between your hands, coming up to proposal pose. We'll take left hand to the front of the thigh. On your next inhale, you'll let your hips kind of come down towards the floor as you raise opposite arm. And then on your exhale, press yourself back up, arm alongside your body. Inhale, opposite arm sweeps up as you let your hips come towards the front of your mat. And then on your exhale, press yourself back up, opposite arm alongside your body. Okay, take a couple more. Really engage your navel up and in. And the pelvic floor up as you exhale yourself back up to this 90-90. Good. The last time you're standing up, go ahead and take both hands to the front knee, turn the back toes under, press yourself up to the crescent lunge. Inhale, sweep your arms up. Exhale, lower the back knee towards the floor without touching. Inhale, press up. Exhale, lower back knee towards the floor without touching. Inhale, reach back up, back leg reaches towards the ceiling. Exhale, lower, hover, 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 touch down. Bring both knees together. Hands to your sacrum, come into a fold, and then a child's pose if that feels okay. If not, just you can have your hands forward, back rounded, just to counter the back bending. Great, we'll inhale back up to center, to table. Take a few rounds of cat-cow. And then inhale the right leg out behind you, opposite leg. You'll tense your fingers as you bring that foot between your hands and come up to this 90-90. So the front leg is bent 90 degrees, back leg is bent 90 degrees. Take your right hand. If your right leg is forward, take your right hand to your knee. If you've got it the opposite way, doesn't matter, just same hand to the front knee. And then on your inhale, as you let your hips come forward, inhale the opposite arm up. On your exhale, use the counter movement to press yourself back up to the 90-90. So we did this last week where we kind of were doing this opposite action, right? So as I press down, as I exhale, draw navel in, draw the pelvic floor up, but you can kind of get this sense of moving through water with your left arm to help you come back up to center. Of course, the hips are working too, as promised. Good, and the next time you land in the 90-90, wait for us there. Take both hands to the front knee, turn the back toes under, press up into the crescent lunge. Lift the back thigh. Good, and then you'll inhale, reach arms up. Exhale, lower the back knee, but don't touch it. Inhale, press back up. Exhale, lower the back knee towards the floor, but don't let it touch. Press back up. This time, hover, 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 land. Rock yourself back, take yourself to both knees, slowly folding, hands to the low back, sitting on your heels with your hands forward or coming all the way into child's pose, whatever feels a little more supportive as a counter to that movement. On your next inhale, you'll slide your hands forward. Take them out in front of your shoulders, turn your toes under, press your hips up and back, downward facing dog. And you can take a few pedals through the feet, through the knees. And then bring your feet about hip distance apart. Press into your right foot, inhale the left leg out behind you. So get that same extension where you can really feel like the front of the hip flexor is working here, and then bend through that knee. Draw standing leg hip under as you stack your left hip over your right hip as much as possible. Equal pressure into both hands. So the right leg is really, to get this stacking to happen, you really have to pull the standing leg, the right leg, pull that hip in and under. So release. Take maybe a few pelvic tilts here, just getting back to neutral spine. And now step firmly into the left foot to the ball of the toes, the metatarsal arch and the toes, and draw the left hip. Really squeeze muscle to bone. Inhale, right leg up, bending the right knee. Keep drawing the left hip under as you stack the right hip on top of the left hip. Equal pressure in both arms, both hands. And release. Good. Walk your hands back towards your feet. Bend your knees deeply here and just let your upper body rest on your lower body. Good. And then we're gonna inhale and come up. So come up all the way to standing, arms overhead. On the exhale, we'll bend through the knees and fold over the body, legs again with the upper body. You can bring your hands to the floor or to your back of your calves. And on the inhale, we'll press and come up. Take this slowly. If you get dizzy at all, exhale, bend, and come down. And just resting your upper body on your lower body here. Good. And then press, take your hands in front of your feet, press your hips up, and any amount of straightening in your legs for forward fold. And then either hands on hips, hinging up at the waist, or if it feels better to you, to roll up, come up to standing. Now you're going to need a block that you can stand on. So if you have one of the heavier blocks, great, or a book. And you can have for this some wall space that you could use just to have balance not be an issue. So I'm going to stand on the block, and I'm going to bring my opposite foot right beside it as if I'm standing on a block. And again, use the wall space if you need to. If you want to play with balance, you can have balance. You could not use anything with your hands, no wall space. All right, so inhale. As you inhale, take your leg, your suspended leg, out to the side. I'll turn here so you can see. Out to the side. And then on the exhale, sweep it across your front body. Inhale, out to the side. Exhale, take it behind you and sweep it behind you. Inhale, back to center. Stack your feet as if your suspended foot is standing on a block. Inhale, take it out to the side. Exhale, bring it across your body. Now, obviously, if you don't have the wall space to use, the standing leg is going to be really using the stabilizer, hip stabilizer muscles as well. But if you have something you can hang on to, because you could be hanging onto something in the front as well, then you're just working the suspended leg. So you just bring it in front, then you bring it back out to the side, you bring it behind. Do that a couple times. Good. And then last time, let's step down and shake out the standing leg. Come back, same standing leg. Hover the foot again. And now bring the leg into flexion. Your suspended leg into flexion. Good. And you can keep the knee bent if you want to play around with a little bit more. You could straighten the leg. And then coming forward, and you can use a hand here. If you have something in front of you or the wall beside you, come into extension with that leg. Back into flexion. Extending the leg if you want to. back into extension. You'll feel the standing leg working as well. Come into flexion again. And now externally rotate. Bring your knee out to the side and place your foot in Vrksasana. I'll turn my orientation to you. Pull the standing leg, hip in, squeeze it in. Squeeze your foot that you raised against your thigh. And release. Shake out your legs, walk around your space, whatever you need to do. We'll come to the other side. So begin just with the opposite foot on the block and your other foot suspended. You'll inhale the leg out to the side. Exhale, cross your body in the front. Inhale. Exhale behind. Do that a few times. Moving side to side. So working the stabilizing muscles of the standing leg. You're working external. You're working the abductors and adductors of the suspended leg. Good. And if you need a break, just come down, shake out your legs, walk around your space. We'll take the same foot up to the block. Hover. Inhale, come into flexion with the suspended leg, either with the knee bent, and you could try exploring straightening a little bit, lots harder. And then take it back into extension. You'll have to sort of rock forward, right? And go back and forth between flexion and extension. You really feel the glute working on the standing leg, right? Trying to keep that leg. If there's a little bend in that leg as you move back and forth, that's okay. And then the next time you have the suspended leg into flexion, see if you can place that leg into Vrksasana, tree pose. Press the hips in towards one another. Press the foot into the leg. Really squeeze the standing leg. Squeeze the standing leg. And release, shake it out, walk around your space a little bit, and we'll come back to the mat. Have a block at the top of your mat. Come to the top of your mat in Tadasana. Inhale, reach the arms up, and exhale, fold through center. Hands to the mat, step back, downward facing dog. Shift your hips a little bit, right to left. And then inhale the right leg out. Exhale, bring it forward between your hands. Turn your back toes and windmill up into Warrior Two. So in this Warrior Two, front leg is externally rotated. Back leg is internally rotated. Inhale and exhale here. Take a couple rounds of breath, finding your good strong warrior here. And then on your next inhale, straighten the front leg. Reach the side ribs forward and fold into triangle. Keep the neck long. Keep tucking the front buttocks underneath. External rotation of that front leg. Great, and then we'll bend through the front knee. You're gonna hop the back foot forward. Take your block. take your block. I'm going to go to the highest setting and reach it out of 10 inches in front of my front foot and out to the side and come there, right hand on the block, lift the back leg, Ardha Chandrasana. Now, if you can lift the back leg a little bit higher than parallel, you're going to feel your abductors working. Turn your gaze down towards your front foot. Turn your hips. Let your top leg come to rest with your standing leg. Take a deep bend in your knees. Let your body rest over. Upper body rest over your legs. And then come on back, downward facing dog. Inhale to come forward into Dandasana. Exhale, lower to the floor anyway, any choice of yours. Inhale into some sort of back bend, cobra, Bhujangasana, upward facing dog. And then hands beside your low ribs, press yourself up and back, downward facing dog. Inhale the left leg out behind you. Feel the extension through your hip and then bring that foot forward, turn the back foot, windmill up, warrior two on the other side. Come firmly into your warrior two, so press back, heel down. Really feel internal rotation in the back leg, external rotation in the front leg. Do this posture a lot, but it is a good amount of work on the hips. As you inhale and straighten the front leg, reach the front ribs forward and then just fold into triangle. You can rest your hand on your hip or stack your upper arm over your lower arm. Can you get a sense of continuing to keep that front leg in external rotation? So you're trying to, you could even take your front hand, externally rotate the thigh. Good. And then we'll come to Ardha Chandrasana on this side. So you can bring your top hand to your hip, take a little bend in your front leg as you hop your back foot about half the distance. Reach down for your block, bring it forward. Take your left hand into the block, standing on the front leg, reach the back leg up. So you're equal pressing front leg into the mat, back leg into the imaginary wall behind you. And as you're ready, turning your chest open, any amount, lifting the back leg, pull your back toes towards your shins. Top arm could come up if you've got the balance going. And to come out, first turn your gaze down towards your front foot, then your shoulders and hips turn. Bring both feet together, bending through your knees and resting upper body close to the knees. You bend your knees a lot here if you need to. Great. And then you can set your hips down right to the floor. Take your arms just around your knees, so you're kind of sitting in a V sit. Great. And then hands to the back of your legs as you lower yourself down to the floor. Now bring your knees into your chest and then take some circles with your knees. Both directions. Great. Okay, so next we're going to bring the soles of the feet to the floor. I'm going to come to I'll come to one side and I want my knees to come out from my hips more or less. Um, Legs are perpendicular to upper body, and then I'm going to take my top leg long. I'm going to reach that leg off the floor, and I'm going to pulse for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Pull toes back towards shins. 7, 8, 9, 10. Hold it. Okay, that's enough of that. Bend your knee, and if you can, bring that knee in front of the one on the floor. So it comes to the floor and up a little closer to your chest. Okay? Now, if that doesn't work in your body, that's okay. You can just stack the knees. But with the knee bent, start to open into a twist. Any amount. I can't get my back shoulder on the floor, but maybe you can. It's a pretty big twist. Now, if I backed off and put my knees together, yeah, I could open up a little bit more. So just play with where this feels good and supportive to twist. Either the knee on the floor in front of your lower knee or your knees stacked. Okay. Inhale, top knee up. Roll onto your back. Pull your knees into your chest again. That's going to be your exhale. And on your inhale, press the knees away. Inhale, draw the knees in. If it feels more supportive to take some circles again with the knees, do that. Then we're going to roll to the other side. You can rest your head on your outstretched arms. Take the top leg long. So if this felt like I don't have it today, you can bend that top knee and just do the lifting with the bent leg. If it's okay with a straight leg, pull the toes back towards the shins, and we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Put your hand on your hip. You can really feel the work there. 8, 9, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Can you hover? Bend the top knee and rest the knees together, or bring that knee forward of the other one and open up into a twist. Decide for you. You are in charge here, so decide whether it feels a little more supportive just to have the knees stacked. And then inhale, the top leg comes up, you roll to your back, Again, you can take any supportive movement through the hips. Feels really good to me to counter this with some circles. Great. And then we'll take the right leg over the left leg so the thighs are together if possible. Squeeze the thighs together. Pull your knees in towards your chest. Maybe you can take your right hand to your left shin and your left hand to your right shin and pull your knees in a little bit. So the right leg is on top. If your right leg is on top, you'll feel this probably in your right outer hip. Can you let your hips sort of relax back down to the floor? Let your hips release to the floor. Now, release your hands if you have them there. Let your legs just unwind and reach straight up to the ceiling. Pull your shins back, toes back towards your shins, so like you're stepping on the ceiling. And just some baby lifts. So it's almost like you're doing a pelvic tilt here. Press my feet up towards the ceiling on the exhale. Inhale. Relax. Good. And then left leg goes over right. Bend the knees. Bring your knees in towards your chest. This could be where you stay. Might take the right hand to the left shin and left hand to the right shin. Some of you can get your feet, your right hand to your left foot and your left hand to your right foot as you separate the feet apart. But could just go to your edge. Now you feel the left hip flexor, or the left outer hip rather. See if you can relax your hips down to the floor. Chin pointing up towards the ceiling, so throat is open. What are you holding? If you're holding your breath or you're holding tension in your face or you're someplace in your body, can you let that go? Just let that go. Release your arms down to the side, unravel, point soles of the feet up to the floor. So this is basically Dandasana. This is Supta Dandasana on our back. So reaching the soles of the feet to the floor, just pulsing a little bit or doing like a teeny pelvic tilt. And then knees into chest. Releasing the hips. Releasing any tension, just letting your hips sort of spread out towards the floor. Like right now, you want really just large spread out hips. Let them spread. And then gradually working your way to the soles of your feet on the floor. You could rest here. This could be your Shavasana with your knees resting together, or taking the legs long. Arms alongside your body. And again, just letting everything go. Keep checking in as you rest in this final pose if you're holding any tension anywhere, and see if you can release that tension. Let your legs be heavy. Relax the muscles on your face, around the eyes, to the brow. And then just with the slightest attention to the edges of your mouth, bring both edges, both sides of the mouth up in a small smile. And if that brought up any lifting of the heart or any emotion like gratitude or joy or love, acknowledge that. Mm. Welcome to stay as long as you want on your back. If you want to join me in a seat, you can roll to one side, slowly press yourself up, or take a few breaths in on your side in the fetal position. Very slowly bringing hands together in a position of prayer in front of your heart. Connect your thumbs to your sternum. Really feel the heart space here full. Let's take a deep inhale and Om on the exhale. Om. Always nice to pause and feel the vibration of the Om. May the merit of our practice, friends, encourage all beings to unveil the hidden brilliance that lies within. Namaste.